Mr. Benson, a tall, imposing figure in a tailored suit, walks into his large, glass-walled office on the top floor of the building. His office overlooks the city, a symbol of his wealth and success. He doesn't smile as he enters. His employees, scattered across the room, look up nervously, standing at attention. The room falls silent. No one greets him. They're too afraid to. As he sits down at his massive desk, the tension in the room is palpable. A few employees exchange uncomfortable glances. They know the unspoken rule. Mr. Benson does not tolerate any form of casual interaction. The meeting of fear, it's time for the weekly meeting. Mr. Benson sits at the head of the conference table, his piercing eyes scanning the faces of his managers. One of them, Mark, made a small error in a financial report. Mr. Benson's voice cuts through the room like a knife. "This is unacceptable," he shouts, his face red with anger. He stands up, slamming his fist on the table. "You all better get it together or I'll find new people who can actually do their jobs." The room is silent except for Mr. Benson's harsh breathing. Everyone gets up quietly after the meeting ends, avoiding eye contact, knowing that any word or movement might make things worse. Lisa's questioned later in the day. Lisa, his secretary, enters the office with a clipboard. She hesitates, looking down at her notes, then asks cautiously, "Mr. Benson, would you like me to arrange a meeting with the marketing team?" Her voice is polite, almost too careful. Mr. Benson, who is hunched over a pile of paperwork, doesn't even look up. With an exaggerated sigh, he rolls his eyes, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Think for once, Lisa. We have a team for that." He doesn't even offer a glance before dismissing her. Lisa stands there, hurt, but doesn't speak up. She simply nods and walks out, feeling small and insignificant. The party speech at an office party, employees gather in the brightly lit lounge area, toasting to another year of hard work. Mr. Benson stands at the front with a glass of champagne. He raises it in the air, preparing to give his speech. "Everyone, listen up," he says, his voice booming across the room. "I built this empire alone. I didn't need anyone's help. No one believed in me, but look at where I am now." He pauses, letting the words hang in the air. He doesn't acknowledge the people who have worked tirelessly for him. No one can speak up. They know better than to challenge him in front of everyone. A few forced claps follow, but the room feels colder than before. John's idea. John, a dedicated and loyal employee, nervously raises his hand during a brainstorming session. "Mr. Benson," he begins, "I think we could improve the product by adding a new feature." Before John can finish his sentence, Mr. Benson interrupts him with a sharp laugh. "Stay in your place, John. You're not here to give ideas." His words are dismissive and cruel, making John shrink in his chair. The team exchanges uncomfortable glances, but no one says anything. The following day, as Mr. Benson steps into the elevator, he is accompanied by a cleaner. The cleaner, a young woman with a nervous expression, accidentally brushes her hand against the elevator buttons. Mr. Benson glares at her, his voice laced with venom. "Don't touch the buttons when I'm inside. Do you understand?" The cleaner nods quickly, muttering an apology. Mr. Benson's eyes narrow as he watches her, feeling an unsettling power in the silence between them. At home that night, Clara, Mr. Benson's wife, sits at the dinner table, watching him scroll through his phone, his attention elsewhere. She sighs, trying to make eye contact. "You're too rude to people, Michael," she says softly, using his first name in a way that feels more intimate. "You need to change. People don't like you like this." He doesn't look up. "I don't have time for your complaints, Clara," he mutters. "I've worked too hard to be who I am. You wouldn't understand." Clara's face falls as she picks up her fork, feeling the distance growing between them. The next morning, Sarah, an eager young intern, walks into Mr. Benson's office. She nervously holds a coffee cup in her hands, trying to balance it and some papers she's been asked to deliver. As she approaches his desk, her hand shakes and the coffee spills onto an important file. Mr. Benson looks up from his phone, his face hardening instantly. "You ruined my file, Sarah." "You're fired," he says coldly. "Mr. Benson, Sarah begins, but he cuts her off. "I don't want to hear it. "Get out," he orders. Sarah's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't argue. She quickly leaves, humiliated and in shock. Later that day, Mr. Benson's managers gather in secret to discuss their frustrations. The conversation starts slowly, but soon, more voices join in. "This place is toxic," one manager, Rachel, says quietly. "It's no longer a place to work, it's a place to survive." Others nod, some venting their anger and resentment, while a few make plans to leave. They talk about how they're afraid of losing their jobs, but at the same time, they're considering a future without Mr. Benson's cruelty. As the weeks pass, Lisa grows increasingly unhappy. Mr. Benson's behavior only worsens. He belittles her in front of the entire office again. This time, something inside her snaps. After the incident, she sits at her desk, staring blankly at her computer. She begins to search for job openings on her phone. Later that evening, Lisa sends in her resignation letter. The next morning, she walks out of the office, no longer the scared woman she once was. She leaves for a new job, determined to never be treated that way again. Mr. Benson laughs with his rich friends at an upscale restaurant. He tells exaggerated stories about firing employees, boasting about how he can easily replace anyone who doesn't meet his expectations. His friends laugh along, but there's something empty in the way they nod. They've heard it all before, and they all know it's nothing to be proud of. A few days later, an article pops up in the local news calling Mr. Benson's company toxic and warning potential employees about the working environment. When Mr. Benson sees it, he scoffs, brushing it off as just the media trying to create drama. He continues his work, unable to see the cracks forming all around him. One morning, the IT manager, Greg, walks into Mr. Benson's office, looking visibly exhausted. "Mr. Benson," he begins, "I can't do this anymore. The pressure, the atmosphere, it's unbearable." Mr. Benson doesn't even look up from his desk. "Do what you want. You're all replaceable anyway," he mutters dismissively. With a sigh, Greg submits his resignation letter and walks out without another word. The news spreads quickly, and soon after, several other employees, from the marketing team to customer support, follow suit, resigning quietly and leaving the company in droves. In the following weeks, Mr. Benson hires replacements, but these new employees are nothing like his previous team. They're scared, timid, afraid to speak up or offer any ideas. They keep their heads down and do their work without question. Mr. Benson feels a fleeting sense of control as the office environment becomes more silent and submissive. But deep down, he knows something is wrong. The atmosphere is suffocating, and no one is truly invested. At home, tensions with Clara continue to mount. One night, during a heated argument, Clara finally reaches her breaking point. "I can't do this anymore, Michael. You've become someone I don't even recognize," she says, her voice breaking. Mr. Benson shrugs, his indifference cutting through the room. "It's your loss," he says, standing up from the couch and heading to his office. "I don't have time for this." Clara, tears streaming down her face, packs her bags and walks out the door, leaving him standing alone in the darkened house. Mr. Benson doesn't go after her. He simply mutters to himself, "She'll come back when she realizes what she's lost." Mr. Benson tries to run the company alone, micromanaging every small detail. He calls every meeting, gives orders without listening to anyone, and insists on having the final say in every decision. But the company, once thriving under a collaborative and driven team, is now deteriorating under his leadership. Employees are stressed, disengaged, and disconnected from the work they once cared about. Mr. Benson refuses to acknowledge the issue, believing that if he simply works harder and controls everything, things will improve. As weeks go by, the company's profits start to decline steadily. Mr. Benson dismisses the reports, blaming it on the market and external factors. "We're still the best company out there," he insists to anyone who will listen. "It's just a rough patch." But the complaints start to roll in. Customers call, upset about the quality of the products and services. Mr. Benson brushes them off, telling his team to fix it fast, but offering no real solutions. His team feels powerless to make changes. John, The employee Mr. Benson once mocked receives a life-changing job offer from a competing company. The offer includes a much better salary, benefits, and the opportunity for growth. Everything he wanted but never received under Mr. Benson's oppressive management. After a thoughtful conversation with his family, John makes the decision to leave. He submits his resignation letter, shaking Mr. Benson's hand firmly before walking out for the last time. A few days later, Mr. Benson calls a meeting with the remaining employees. He stands at the head of the table, shouting louder than ever. "I'm sick of hearing excuses. It's all your fault that profits are down. Why can't any of you do your jobs?" The employees sit in stunned silence. They're afraid to respond, knowing that any attempt to speak up will only make things worse. Mr. Benson's face turns purple with rage, his words growing more erratic. The tension is unbearable, but no one dares to challenge him. Later that week, an investor visits the company, hoping to see the innovation and drive Mr. Benson once promised. The investor walks through the empty halls, observing the low morale of the employees and the disarray in the office. After the visit, the investor pulls his funding, citing the toxic work environment and the lack of leadership. Mr. Benson doesn't take the news well. "It's their loss," he tells his team. "They'll regret it." The company's shares begin to drop sharply. News spreads that the company is in turmoil, and soon, investors and clients start pulling their support. The once thriving business is now on the brink of collapse. Mr. Benson refuses to take responsibility. "Lazy workers," he mutters angrily, pacing around his office. "They've ruined everything." One afternoon, Lisa, now working for a larger and more successful company, stops by Mr. Benson's office. She smiles as she walks in, and Mr. Benson looks up, surprised to see her. "Lisa," he asks, his voice cold. She nods, her smile warm and genuine. "I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Benson. You taught me a lot." She pauses, her voice softening. "And I learned what kind of leader I never want to be." With that, Lisa turns and walks out of his office. Mr. Benson watches her leave, feeling a strange mixture of pride and regret. He hides the sting of her words with a forced smile. Later that evening, as Mr. Benson reflects on his journey, he feels the weight of his actions. He recalls his treatment of Lisa, Sarah, John, and countless others. Their departures, the strained relationships, the falling profits, it all hits him at once. He presses his palm against his chest, feeling a deep ache in his heart, but he quickly pushes the feeling away. He tries to maintain the facade of power and control, but inside, a deep emptiness begins to take root. Desperate to turn things around, Mr. Benson attempts to hire new employees. He holds interviews with several highly qualified candidates, but no one wants to work for him. They've heard the rumors, seen the articles, and know the reputation he's built. He makes desperate offers, but no one accepts. The silence grows louder, and Mr. Benson realizes that his reputation is too far gone. His phone keeps ringing, but it's never with good news. Suppliers cancel their contracts, clients withdraw their business, and even former partners stop returning his calls. Mr. Benson sits at his desk, his head in his hands. His world, once built on control and manipulation, is crumbling around him. That evening, Mr. Benson sits alone in a small restaurant, eating a solitary dinner. The food is bland, and the silence around him feels suffocating. He notices the empty chair across from him, where Clara once sat, laughing and talking about her day. He eats mechanically, unable to shake the feeling of loss. There's no warmth in the room, no conversation, just the dull hum of background noise. A few days later, Mr. Benson attends a high-profile event, expecting to be greeted with admiration. But as he enters the venue, he's ignored. His once wealthy friends and business associates, the ones who used to shower him with praise, now look the other way. They avoid him, their conversations dying down as he passes. Mr. Benson's ego takes a blow, but he forces a smile, pretending that it doesn't bother him. The truth is, it stings more than he can admit. In a fit of rage, Mr. Benson storms into the office the next day. He fires 3 employees on the spot, accusing them of underperforming without any valid reason. The workers, stunned and hurt, gather their belongings and leave without a word. The office is quieter than ever, the atmosphere tense and uncomfortable. No one dares to speak up. One of the fired employees secretly records Mr. Benson's angry outburst and posts it online. Within hours, the video goes viral. Social media users, journalists, and even former employees flood the comments, calling him a bully boss. The video spreads like wildfire, and soon, Mr. Benson's reputation is shattered beyond repair. As the video of Mr. Benson's outburst circulates across social media, the public reaction is swift and unforgiving. News outlets pick up the story, and soon Mr. Benson is the subject of ridicule. His once loyal followers, the ones who had admired him for his success, are now questioning his integrity. The hashtag #BullyBoss trends worldwide, and memes mocking Mr. Benson flood social media. Employees from all corners of the world share their own horror stories about toxic workplaces, many citing Mr. Benson's company as the prime example. Despite his best efforts to suppress it, Mr. Benson can't escape the wave of backlash. Calls from former colleagues go unanswered. Business deals dry up. Clients who had once relied on his company now distance themselves, unwilling to associate with the negative publicity. His phone constantly buzzes with messages and calls, but none are good news. A colleague from his earlier days texts him, "I used to look up to you, Michael, but after seeing that video, I'm ashamed to have ever known you." His heart sinks as he stares at the message, realizing how far he's fallen. More customers cancel their contracts. The ones who stay demand immediate changes, but Mr. Benson, ever prideful, refuses to acknowledge that his leadership style is the issue. Instead, he blames the market, the competition, and his employees. The company hemorrhages money as sales plummets. Meanwhile, suppliers, wary of further losses, sever their relationships with him. Mr. Benson receives a flurry of emails and phone calls, all of them ending with the same result: "We're no longer doing business with you." The once booming empire Mr. Benson built is crumbling under the weight of his arrogance, pride, and inability to change. The employees who remain are paralyzed by fear, too afraid to speak out or even voice their concerns. But inside, many are already planning their escape. Behind closed doors, the board members call an emergency meeting. They sit around the table, exchanging glances, reluctant to address the elephant in the room. Mr. Benson has been a tyrant for far too long, and now his actions have put the entire company at risk. "We can't keep this up," one of the board members, a seasoned businesswoman, says firmly. "If we don't act quickly, we'll be out of business in 6 months." They all agree. The decision is made quietly but firmly. They will remove Mr. Benson as CEO. The company's survival depends on it. The board decides to carry out the plan in secret, hoping to avoid public conflict. Their discussions remain confidential, and they work on securing a new leader who can help steer the company in a better direction. Days later, Mr. Benson arrives at his office expecting to lead a grand meeting to announce his plan to fix everything. But when he steps through the door, he's handed a letter by the HR director. It's from the board. "Michael Benson, effective immediately, you are terminated from your role as CEO of the company. The board has voted unanimously to remove you from your position." Mr. Benson laughs at first, convinced it's some sort of prank. "This is a joke, right?" he says, chuckling nervously. "You can't do this. I built this company." But the HR director's expression remains stoic. "It's not a joke, Mr. Benson. The decision has been made." The reality hits him like a slap in the face. For the first time in years, he is powerless. He storms into the office building, hoping to reason with someone, anyone. But as he approaches the front desk, the security guard stops him. "Sorry, sir. You're not allowed inside," the guard says calmly but firmly. "We've been instructed to not let you in." Mr. Benson stands frozen, staring at the security guard. The man doesn't flinch or offer any sympathy. It's a humbling moment. Mr. Benson tries to argue, but his words fall flat. Standing outside, Mr. Benson watches as the employees move around inside. He sees them laughing, talking freely, no longer the scared, silent workers they once were under his oppressive rule. They've found their voices, and for the first time, they seem at peace. He's locked out. His world, once filled with power and dominance, now feels foreign. There's no one left to admire him, no one left to cower in fear. As the day drags on, Mr. Benson watches through the glass as they work without him. He can't help but feel insignificant. It's a stark contrast to the man who used to walk the halls with an air of superiority. Mr. Benson walks slowly away from the office, his head down. For the first time in years, he doesn't feel invincible. The weight of his actions presses down on him. His once mighty company, his relationships, and his reputation are all gone. As he walks through the streets, the world seems different. People are busy with their lives, unaware of the man who once owned a powerful business empire. The streets feel crowded, but he feels alone. He ends up sitting at a small cafe, nursing a cup of cheap coffee. The place is nothing like the luxurious restaurants he once frequented. The coffee isn't fancy, and the atmosphere is far from glamorous. It's quiet, calm, and humble, just like the people around him. He reflects on the choices he made, the people he hurt, and the relationships he destroyed. He recalls Clara's departure, the faces of his fired employees, and how he pushed everyone away with his arrogance. For the first time, he wonders if he could have done things differently. But it's too late now. As he sits there, lost in his thoughts, a young waiter approaches. He smiles warmly and says, "Have a nice day, sir." The kindness in the waiter's voice hits Mr. Benson like a wave of emotion. For a brief moment, he feels a flicker of something he hasn't felt in years: humanity. A lump forms in his throat, and he quickly wipes his eyes. He's too proud to cry, but deep down, he feels a pang of regret. The waiter's simple act of kindness has reminded him of something he lost long ago: his empathy. As Mr. Benson walks through the busy streets, the noise of the city seems distant. The people rush past him, focused on their own lives, unaware of the once powerful CEO who walks among them now, invisible. He pauses at a street corner, watching a group of children laughing and playing. They're free, happy, innocent. They have no idea who he is, and in this moment, he's okay with that. The world has moved on, and so must he. He mutters to himself, "I had it all, and I lost it because of me." The realization hits him harder than anything else. He's alone, and it's entirely his fault. As the sun sets, casting a soft glow over the city, Mr. Benson stands still, watching the world move around him. He's no longer the man he once was. His empire is gone. His wealth, his power, all vanished. But in this moment, he understands something he never did before. Success isn't about control or dominance. It's about the people around you, the relationships you nurture, and the humility to recognize when you're wrong. For the first time in years, Mr. Benson feels a glimmer of hope. It's a long road ahead, but perhaps, just perhaps, he can start anew as a man who has learned the true value of respect, kindness, and humility. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more inspiring content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful stories and videos. Leave a comment below to let us know what you think, and feel free to share this video with others who might enjoy it. Stay tuned for more powerful tales that will leave you reflecting long after the video ends. Thank you for watching.